really interesting dynamic all of a sudden with Solskjaer and the way the Ronaldo situation is being talked about in the media. So, young boys, last night we talked to Andy Mitten at full time. Disappointing result, obviously, and leaves them in a tricky-ish position in the group, even though it's only the first game. Bissaka sending off is where it gets interesting, because the accusation now against Solskjaer, I think, there's a recognition that he's actually done a pretty good job in terms of getting out some of the deadwood and bringing in some good players, and they've been better in the transfer market over the last while, and he seems culturally to have a pretty, good feel for the place, and the players are happy. And he can set up a team as well to win and set up a starting 11. His in-game management is now being questioned. Let's go to half-time, or let's go to wherever you want, really. But after this sending off, where he has to readjust, we see Thomas Tuchel do it against Liverpool recently, and he makes it look very, very easy. Similar-ish times for Solskjaer. It happened just before half-time, 35 minutes. He goes to a back five. Dalot comes on. It's Lindelof. Varane comes on. It's Dalot, Lindelof, Varane, Maguire and Shaw. He has a midfield three of Fred, Bruno and Pogba, and he has Ronaldo up front. So this was how he saw let's go about our business. To be fair, Tuchel did the same thing, 5-3-1 as well, give or take. The initial accusation of Solskjaer is you have to take Ronaldo off in that circumstance as the lone striker when you're down to 10 men. Do you agree with that or not?
Initially, no, I wouldn't take him off. Simply because it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Nothing to do with off the field, or I think on the field. I think if you're going to play that back five with the three midfield, who better than Ronaldo if a chance comes his way to score? Still in world football, there's only probably two or three other names that you put alongside him that would definitely score. And I think I would have left him on for a significant period. I think you highlighted the fact of Chelsea. Chelsea play a five at the back system as it is. Mm-hmm. So they're used to it. Since Tuchel came in, he's worked on that. They've gone through that. They'll have done, session after session of 11v11s. They'll do 10v11s. They'll work on stuff like that. My problem is, how often do United play a back five? Hardly ever. We never see it. They've always played that 4-3-3. I think it was a case of, I won't say they hit the panic button, but it was kind of a case of, okay, we're 1-0 up. Let's shore up our defence. So we bring on Varane. It just felt so unorthodox and unbalanced that the three of them, between Maguire, Varane and Lindelof, didn't know where they were position-wise. They were kind of all like, look, Harry's played it. Varane hasn't. Now, I'm going to suggest Lindelof hasn't played it at Manchester United. I don't know about, he was at Benfica before, and I don't know that he played there, right? I'm not going to pretend like I know, but it just felt like they were all over the place and they couldn't get out. Now, the question mark that comes over Ronaldo is, Ronaldo's not going to press from the front. He's not going to drop back and do his defensive work. That's not the Cristiano Ronaldo that we know of over the last probably 4 or 5 seasons. Back in Madrid, he'd have probably done a bit more, but certainly the Juventus striker and the Manchester United one they have now, he's not going to press from the front. So there is that case of, yes, we take him off and we bring on your Martial, your Greenwood or your Lingard, someone who's quick on the counter-attack, who's a bit more mobile in his defensive duties. But I'd have certainly left Cristiano for a significant period just because it's Cristiano thinking, he'll get me a goal if we can get... Now, where I think he got it wrong was he brings on Dalot fine. Donny van de Beek, I thought, was actually having quite a good game. I think he would have been one I would have left on. You can't afford probably to have Pogba and Bruno on in that situation because, like, as good as they are going forward, we've seen Paul Pogba's stats, this season with the 7 assists in 4 games. Bruno, look, he speaks for himself. I don't need to explain much about him. But those two aren't going to sit in and dig it out for you when you're under massive pressure. They're looking to be expansive, get on the ball, look to play through balls. And I think they just got overran in the middle. And then I don't think that the backs really helped them. I felt that they were just all over the place.
Yeah. So there's loads of interesting bits in that. So say Ronaldo, for instance, because the accusation has been made by lots of people, by the way, both sides, here and over in England, that the right thing to do is to take off Ronaldo. Your point about the fact that he's a goal getter, so it's fair enough to leave him on for a while, notwithstanding. People have said, well, when you're in that position, you need your front man to be all about work rate and not giving opposition easy access into your half, and that's just the gig. And also a bit of pace over the top, keep them honest. And the point has been made Solskjaer was afraid of upsetting Ronaldo. He was afraid of the most powerful person at the club, which is now Ronaldo, giving him the cold shoulder, walking off, shaking his head, and Solskjaer bottled it. That's the uncharitable view right now. I have to say, I'm sort of with you. I've no problem with Solskjaer saying this guy scored 3 goals in no time. He's clearly feeling good about life. I mean, he can score from corners. He can score any kind of goal you want. I'm going to leave him on and see does he nick another one for me. I think that's legitimate. I don't think Solskjaer thought to himself, oh, really, look, deep down, I know I need somebody with work rate up top, but I'm afraid to take off Ronaldo, if I'm being honest. I'm going to leave him on a bit longer. I don't want to have him kind of cold shoulder me after 45 minutes walking off the pitch. So that's the interesting thing. I'm glad you're saying it's a fair enough thing to say I'm leaving on Cristiano Ronaldo, even if it is with 10 men.
Yeah, look, I'm on here talking to you about it, and I'm going to say, well, I think he got this, he got it wrong. If Manchester United see that game out and win 1-0, or even if Jesse doesn't make the mistake and back pass and they draw 1-1, you kind of go, all right, it's an all right result. I believe Atlanta and Villarreal finish up 2-2 as well. So it's not the end of the world. It's because they lost. Now everyone is picking apart every single decision he made. And that's where they've gone, I'd have done this, I'd have done that. Well, Ollie should have done this, Ollie should have done that. There's great footballing minds involved with that Manchester United first team. Yeah. I've worked under Mick Phelan, who's very experienced, very good, tactical manager. He was Sir Alex's right hand for many years. You've got Carrick there as well, Fletcher. There's people there who know the game.
Yes.
I think the whole thing of leaving Ronaldo was can we get the balance that we can get players forward? Look, he obviously went to the back 5 to try and get Dalot and Shaw to be able to get forward, get crosses into the box. And I still have the protection of my 3 centre-halves. I just feel it was something that they hadn't worked on particularly well. If they had, they just looked a bit lopsided. But the whole point is he left Cristiano on to say, come on then, get the balls to him and we know he'll score goals. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think he bottled it, I have to be honest. I think there was a logic there. You could imagine in the dressing room half-time, they're talking about Dalot and Shaw. Get down the flanks, get crosses in. Cristiano will score them. Fred, Pogba, Bruno, all of you heads up, look for Ronaldo, get up and support if you can, when you can. I mean, I really would be surprised if he's bottled it that early. What last night showed, actually, and it was the same against Wolves away, it was the same against Southampton away. The real issue with that 5-3-1 there is Fred, Bruno, Pogba. Manchester United just cannot keep the ball. They had 28% possession after the sending off against Young Boys. 28% possession. They didn't have a single shot on target after the sending off. This midfield against Wolves, against Southampton, regardless of the personnel actually, they can't seem to find a way, David, to dominate games consistently. They're still a team of moments. That's the issue. Ronaldo can't score in a team with 28% possession. I mean, that's your first problem. Man City down to 10 men would not have found themselves camped. They would have kept the ball.
100%. Man City, if they have 11 men, you don't touch the ball. If they have 10 men, you don't touch the ball. That's because the way that it's drilled into them from training. Even if the example you used earlier was Chelsea. Look at, since Tuchel came in, they had the most clean sheets in the Premier League. I mean, he switched that back 5. Liverpool never looked like scoring against Chelsea when they went down to 10 men.
Yeah.
You just knew every player knew exactly where he needed to be. The distances between the 3 centre-halves and the wing-backs were all narrow. Midfield was compact. Of course, when you've got someone like Kante as well, it does help massively. But as much as people want to say United went to a 5-3-1, it was more like a 5, 1 being Fred, Pogba and Bruno ahead of him, and then Ronaldo. Whereas you literally need Fred and another midfielder to sit there. And then that's where I would have said, look, it's easy for me now, but I would have said take Pogba off or take Bruno off. I'd have probably taken Pogba off because I particularly think he didn't have his best United game, certainly in the form he's in. Bruno had that lovely assist to Ronaldo with the outside of the boot, so I'd have probably left him on because he was probably feeling a bit more. But you bring on an experienced player like Matic to kind of say, okay, you know the position, you know the situation we're in. I personally don't think he should have gone to a 5. I would have kept it at 4, and I'd have looked to probably look, Sancho, I have my question marks over him. I still think he's a fantastic player, but I don't think he started his Manchester United career that well. I'm expecting a lot more from him. certainly with the stats he put up with Dortmund. But like you're looking for a fella like him on the right wing, someone else on the left wing. Like it even goes back to Joe. He starts Pogba out wide left because he doesn't trust them in midfield defensively.
We're back to that same problem. Like we're back. I mean, the original sins here keep coming to fruition every time something goes wrong for Manchester United. It's the original problems, and it's moving pieces around to try and compensate for some just very serious failings. And as you said, he can't trust Pogba in that position. Do you rate Solskjaer generally when it comes to the way he manages in-game? Like, do you like the way he goes about substitutions or makes tactical changes? I'm not just talking about last night, but generally, would you have an assessment of how he compares to the other elite managers of Europe in that department?
Well, that's a tough one. I don't study his tactical substitutions as they're happening. I'll probably start looking out for it now that you've asked me. But it's a kind of a case of, it kind of goes back, if you win, you're right. If you lose, you're wrong.
Sure.
Like he's made decisions numerous times. It's not his first time that he's got something wrong. But then again, we could use one of the best managers of all time, Pep Guardiola, goes into a Champions League final. First time he gets Manchester City there. First time he's back there in whatever it was, 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's the first time in the season he doesn't deploy Rodri or Fernandinho on the side. And we're all going, whoa.
Yeah. Solskjaer would be sacked for that with his level, because Guardiola has so much credit in the bank and Solskjaer has so little. Solskjaer wouldn't survive that. No,
he wouldn't. But he makes decisions at times you kind of think, okay, I didn't really see that one coming. But like he's gone out there last night. He's made the decisions at that time what he feels is best for the team to go and win that game or to go and get a result.
Yeah.
And you get it wrong, people are gonna pick it apart. They're gonna criticize you. He'll understand that. He's been in the game long enough to know that.
Yeah. Liverpool have scored a third. It's your boy, Jordan Henderson. Come at the hour. It's a beautiful strike. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's nice. Yeah. It's from a corner. Klopp is loving it as well. I'm not sure if it's directly from corner. I think the corner's it's either been headed to him or it's been directly past him from the corner. But it's coming from, as he's facing the goal, it's coming from his right-hand side. And so he takes it on the half volley and curls it low into the left corner. And it's very sweet and very clean. And he's happy with himself, Jordan.
Yeah, he's the angriest man when he scores. Run around. Yeah, I'm always onto him. I say, you just need to calm down, like, and make it look like you score a lot of goals.
Yes, chill. It looks here like it's his first goal on his debut, but sure, listen, it's putting Liverpool 3-2 up against Milan, so fair enough. One last one on United again. So, like, if we're saying 28% possession, like any other elite team would not be down that low, even with 10 men. Like I said, Southampton away this season, so easily able to disrupt Manchester United keeping possession. Wolves ran over them at times and they couldn't keep the ball. Greenwood scored that goal in the 80th minute. The biggest charge you could make against Solskjaer is he's got all these technicians, and I understand things like Pogba is not necessarily alive to danger without the ball, but with the ball, shouldn't Manchester United, with the right coaching, and you go here and you go there and here are our patterns of play, shouldn't they be able to keep the ball better this far into Solskjaer's reign? Like, they're still just a counter-attacking team based on kind of moments. It just seems like, why hasn't that improved? Why aren't they able to take stings out of games more?
Taking the ball in those types of situations, it's not really tactical work that's done during the week. A lot of it is courage. We hear a lot of the pundits on Sky, wherever, talking about courage. People think it's a tackle or whatever. It is taking the ball in difficult situations. Like when you're, like, no disrespect to young boys, but they're not Manchester United. They don't have the history, nor do they have the players. Like, I believe they had gone through 6 qualifying phases to get into the group stages to then draw Manchester United, which they'll have all. You've seen the celebrations when they got the winner. You've seen David Wagner after the crowd. I believe they stayed there for an hour after on the pitch celebrating. That's what it means to them. You imagine if United had won that, they'd have gone off. Like, all the work that will have been done during the week will have been possession games. It will have been, all stuff that they work on regularly. It's no different to what Pep Guardiola does. It
must be, though. It must.
Well, Guardiola isn't centric in the way he trains. Like his level of demands is what separates him from the others. Obviously, then he does pick very good players and pays a lot of money for those players, but it's like he's doing a jigsaw. He puts the pieces all together. If you look over his time at Manchester United, or Manchester City, I beg your pardon, he's slotting pieces in. When he needs centre halves, he goes and buys one for 50 or 60 million. But the thing is, United last night, their big players didn't show the courage to go and get on the ball and control a game. And they don't have that type. The biggest problem United have is they don't have an outright six, a Kante, someone who can win the ball back all the time, who runs for 90 minutes and just does the basics of a six very well. They don't have that. Fred is good in possession at times. Pogba and Bruno are, attacking players. They like to get on it. There's the flair in them. They get their assists. They get their long-range passing. They look fantastic. They get their goals. But they're not going to do the hard graft. And the last night, they didn't slot back into that position, demand the ball, and kind of just put your foot on it and say, hold on a second. Yeah. I'm going to be the main man here. I'm going to control this game.
Like Michael Carrick sitting there watching, who would be able to impart that kind of calm. And they're going to be under the cosh at times. But from a kick out, let's go short. How do we play? How do we work our way up the pitch? They seem just not to have that in their arsenal at all. And that's their big worry, I think. That's why you'd be surprised if they do anything this year.
They had 2 shots on target. Yeah. It's the lowest Manchester United have ever had in the Champions League, which is unbelievable.
None after the sending off, by the way.
Yeah, and you think you're playing away to young boys. Now, Ollie has lost 7 of his 11 Champions League games, and you think he got the job from the PSG game.
Yeah.
It's kind of, is it a problem for him, the Champions League? Like, did that factor into his decision-making at halftime to go into the back five, that kind of going like, we've not been, like, in his 3 years or whatever, we've not been great in the Champions League. Should we just shore up shop and just hold this out? Like, Manchester United have always been, you go back over the years, back to your Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, they've always been an unbelievable, attacking team. Even they've defended deep at times. But last night, they just lacked everything going forward. Once the sending off happened, they went to the back five. It is a problem. He's got to solve it. But look, at the end of the day, Manchester United, out of the teams in that group, I still fully expect them to top the group. And, I think they've got 2 home games coming up next against Atalanta and Villarreal. I expect them to win both of them. And then, look, this game against young boys will never be spoken about again.
One last one before you go. I think you were away for a lot of the international window. I was away myself, so I've been catching up on the Portugal game and the Azerbaijan game and the Serbia game. Have you seen them? Were you away, or did you see them?
No, I was in Cork with the Ireland under-17s. We're preparing for our European qualifiers next month, so
okay.
Down in Cork. But I did watch the games, yeah. I did watch them.
Okay, well, look, to be fair, feel free to plead the fifth. If you're working with the FAI and you're at the under-17s, it's very difficult then to be critical or otherwise of management, or to give a fair assessment. So that might be putting you in a tricky position, because I was just going to ask you where you feel Stephen Kenny's stock is after the latest international window. But look, if that's tricky for you, I didn't realise you were with the 17s, then
it's fine. Pressure. No, I think, look, I think the performance against Portugal was very good. I think people can go on about it's after the Serbia game, my biggest thing was, it was really an eye-opener for me, is where do you sit in terms of the progression Stephen has made, or are you in or out for Stephen Kenny? And I think that was a massive thing, because a lot of people went, well, the performance was awful. We snatched, a fumble goal. Duffy was in there and it kind of get rebounded. It was a big, massive one of those that people were just like, oh, well, Serbia battered us for large parts. If it wasn't for Gavin in the goal, you know what I mean? There was just, people were just looking to, pick things. Now, of course, against those lesser nations we're playing, you want us to go and win those games. That's probably the biggest thing. And I can sit here and I can say, we can pick apart, the goals they conceded in those games and whatever happened. The thing is, the boys have got to find a way. That's not just Stephen, it's the players themselves have got to find a way to be defensively solid. You know what I mean? Then get on the ball. I thought at times against Serbia, they did really well in terms of building out from the back, playing through the thirds, getting into good areas. Like, there is progression. And I'm definitely in favour of what's happening. Like, there's been a massive transition. There's been a massive overhaul from my time. Like, the more I look at it, like, 2 years ago, like I'm involved with the 17s, like I said, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Aaron Connolly, Adam, Jason Knight, Jason Malumbi, Darrell O'Shea, Andrew, Gavin, were all playing for like the 17s and the 19s equivalent. Like they're now playing in the first team. That's fully credit to them, but it just shows that there's been a massive gap in probably those lads in the ages of 23 to 26, 27. We do have the odd one, don't get me wrong. But if you look at it, I think there's, if we were to talk about it, I don't know exactly off the top of my head, it's like young boys born in the years of like 94, 95, 96. But there's now, there are two forbidden names in Ireland, but Jack Grealish and Declan Rice were part of those age groups, and they obviously have moved on to do what they're doing. But there's a lack of other players. And the gulf, you have obviously the older ones like Jeff, Seamus, McLean. You know, there's a few more, don't get me wrong, but you've got them on the brink of 30, and then you've got a lot of lads on the brink of 19, 20, 21. That's a massive jump. And I think Stephen is working really hard, and he's doing a lot of good work. And I think we have to be patient. You have to see the bigger picture, because as much as we want results now, the biggest question I have, a lot of people who are watching this game, are you actually a fan of Irish football? Do you watch all the football? Do you understand where all these young players are playing? Like, before the Portugal game, how many people knew that Gavin had gone on loan to Portsmouth? I mean, that he's playing week in, week out. How many people know about all these young boys? Like, I think people are tuning into Ireland games expecting Ireland to play this, open, expansive football, be exciting, get results against everyone. It doesn't work like that. I do think there is a lot of hard work going in, which I know with these younger lads, which have come through the 15s, 17s, 19s, 21s, that the work has been put in. I think it's going to take time. Of course, I know Stephen's contract is up at the end, and people are saying, oh, well, we need to be qualifying for this World Cup or whatever, but there is a bigger picture in place, and that's what I'm grabbing onto. I see that because I'm now involved in Inside. There is a bigger picture, and people have to be patient. They have to wait. Like, of course, I would love it. And I was on the Saturday, I think it was Saturday with Richie Dunn before, and we laughed and joked saying that we wanted to go and support Ireland as a fan. I'm desperate for Ireland to get to the next World Cup. I'm desperate for Ireland to be at Germany in 2024, of course. But I see the bigger picture. I don't think a lot of people, the people who are on the negative side or, spouting off saying, well, this result is crap or this performance is crap, fair enough. But there is a bigger picture in place. And I think people need to be patient and leave these young lads develop and get better. And if we do, I think we will benefit massively from it.
Okay. I'll let you go watch
that's my 5 minute.
No,
that's good. My 5 minute rant over.
No, it's good. It's great. Great. I'll let you go watch the end of the game at Anfield. David, thanks so much. Appreciate it, man.
Well, I told you Liverpool would win.
Well, they're 3-2 up, 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Comfortable.
See you later.